Hello, good evening and welcome back once again to In The Know, brought to you by the Racing Post and Coral for the first time since the Eborn meeting. It's been a while. I hope you've been keeping okay, and thanks for joining us tonight if you are watching live at home on Facebook and on YouTube, of course. My name is Ross Brierley and it is the first weekend in October, so it can mean only one thing. It is, of course, the Prix de l'Arc de Triomphe from Longchamp on Sunday afternoon, which means group racing galore in potentially very bad ground if the forecast is anything to go by. But we've got a wide open arc this year, which we'll be getting well and truly stuck into a little bit later on the show, as well as a few other Group 1s on the card, including the Abbaye and the Foret from Sunday afternoon. But it's not just a trip to Longchamp for racing fans this weekend, of course. Tomorrow's got some interest up and down the UK with Ascot. We'll be taking a couple of races there, the Bengough Stakes and the Challenge Stakes, trying to find a winner of the 500th 7 furlong handicap at Ascot this season. We've also got the 2-year-old trophy from Redcar, juvenile contest for some black type potentially there, and of course Group 1 action at Newmarket. Fillies and mares lining up as Saffron Beach bids to defend her crown in the Sun Chariot Stakes. So pretty much something for everyone for this weekend's action. Hopefully as well a few winners to be found. Like I said, this is live as we start on YouTube and Facebook, so please do bow down to the algorithm and like and subscribe to the Racing Post channel if you haven't done already, and get involved in the chat. What do you fancy? What do you like? Or are you keeping your powder dry to see how soft that ground is? Of course, how many times do we do a show in here ahead of a flat festival and we don't quite know exactly what they are going to race on? But hey, that's the UK and France now, apparently, so we've got that to contend with, but you should be used to that by now. Once again, I'm joined by the A-team to hopefully go through and find a few winners. We've got a top tipster in the studio, a top tipster at home, a COT representative rubbing his hands together with selections, opinions and price boost galore as well. What more do you want? We'll start off with the man to my left, who's been off for a couple of weeks, so is ready, refreshed and raring to go. It's Mr. Paul Kealy.
Yeah, good. Yeah, 2 weeks off. Watched as little races as I could. Did poke my nose in on a couple of Saturdays, but other than that, played a lot of golf. A few days out, nicely refreshed. Not much punting.
That's it. You need to cleanse the palate
yeah,
a little bit.
You can go a little bit stale after a while if you keep doing it day in, day out, day in, day out. So
absolutely.
Yeah, full of enthusiasm again.
Although I did see a couple of your tweets. You just came on just to rue a couple of old favourites who...
Well, it actually was Summergand, of course,
yes,
winning
of course,
the Gold Cup. But I mean, that actually sparked a little winning run, because I was sitting in a pub with a couple of mates and I just said, I hadn't done any form study, I was just having a sort of drink. And I said, right, I'm going to back everything that is going to annoy me if it wins today. So, and I did. I backed Nietzsche at 6-1 and Surumi at 17-2, and my old Mayfav Radzinski, he won a race.
Yeah, he did, yeah.
So yeah, it was a good day. Very playful stakes, but it was a good day.
Lovely stuff, right? Well, the Paul Kealy "it'll annoy me if it wins" system is well and truly up and running. Tom Segal is sat at home, and of course, you'll be employing the absolutely pitch perfect, fail-safe, 59 seconds or less sprint analysis system, Tom, which I think has a 100% strike rate, and even got a little mention on your column this week on the app, I see.
Yeah, I'm not sure we got a sprint handicap, have we? For my 50, unfortunately, they're group races, so I tend to look at them a bit more. But sprint handicaps, yeah, 50 seconds. That's all you need with them. They're easy.
What about the challenge? It's 7 is 7 furlongs a sprint distance?
No, that's not a sprint. But I reckon. What do you reckon? 2 minutes 34, something like that.
Yeah. What, for your analysis or the finishing time for the race?
Well, listen, you do so many of these races. You know the horses. I'm sure Keels. If you don't spot the one you like within, 5 or 10 minutes of having a look at the 7 furlong challenge race at Ascot, you never find it. So, if I have to spend hours going through form and draws and I know I'm not going to get the winner anyway. So, no point doing it. Those 7 furlong races, they're really tough, but I think I might have found one today. I quite fancy one. So we'll see what goes on later tomorrow, Ross, with the weather. That's the key, obviously.
Yeah, as it always is. Simon Clare joining us at home as well. You are very much a lover of international racing, so you'll be bouncing off the walls this weekend, Simon.
Yeah, no, it's a great 2 days at Longchamp. Steve-O's actually over there. I'll be watching from Purley. Been to many arcs over the years. Went there when it was moved to Chantilly as well. It's a great trip. It's always a stamina test, and in some ways, I think I'm looking forward to watching it on TV rather than battling with the sort of the Paris transport system and stuff. So it looks it's good racing on this side of the pond, and then some cracking action on Sunday in France, and the weather and the rain, or the potential for rain, will clearly be something that's going to exercise minds as well, given the ground's already very soft in the Bois de Boulogne.
Absolutely, yeah. I haven't been since they redid Longchamp, and mainly because if I have to spend more than €20 to get entry, a chicken baguette and 2 cans of Kronenberg, I'm not interested, Simon. So
I know, and I must say, I loved the old Longchamp. It was a sort of an old but very dramatic sort of setting for the Arc, and the new Longchamp racecourse is sort of almost like more efficient. It's smaller, because of course it was a cavernous place previously, and it was only because of all the English flooding over for the Art meeting that it was ever full. So if you went there on Guineas Day in May, it was like a quiet Monday, at Southern Racecourse in terms of attendance, and that's the thing. I mean, it's a great place to go and watch the racing, but it's a reminder sometimes that that we the racing here beats itself up a lot, and yet nowhere do you have sort of the passion and the fervour, for big festivals and meetings as you do here, versus when you go to France, and there's some great racing, but there's no one there, so there's no love of horse racing in France amongst the masses in the way there is in the UK.
Okay, well, lovely stuff. Let's, like I said, apart from maybe on this weekend, which is...
thanks to the English and the Irish.
Yeah, fair enough. Absolutely fair enough. Well, let's start off in Britain with the Group 1 Sun Chariot Stakes, 2:42 tomorrow at Newmarket, and Saffron Beach is 11-8 favourite here ahead of Homeless Songs at 5-2, Laurel 11-2, Prosperous Voyage at 15-2, Grand Dam is 14-1, Lights on 28s, Fontaine 33s, by all means 40-1 here. And a pretty top-heavy market, as to be expected. To be fair, the fillies and mares, it's not been the deepest division by any stretch of the imagination. But Saffron Beach certainly has captured the imagination since those 2 wins as a 2-year-old at the back end for Jane Chapel-Hyam, and she goes from strength to strength. Beaten last time out at Leopardstown in soft ground, of course, Keels. But this is her home turf.
It is our home turf, but I mean, it's one of those races where the front 2 will finish first and second if they run to their best form, but they were both below it last time on soft ground. It's going to have been raining a fair bit, so we're going to have easy ground again. I don't think the soft ground is that, good to soft would be that bad for either of them. In fact, Homeless Songs was supposed to appreciate a fair bit of cut, wasn't she? But they were both below form, and if they run similar races, it becomes more open. You can see the case for Laurel, the unbeaten Gosden, just improving past a lot of them, but at the end of the day, she's rated 98 for a reason. She hasn't actually done anything yet.
And they've been very slowly run races.
Yeah,
very
exactly.
different.
She's not exactly been missed in the market, is she? And I thought if I was going to back a couple, it might be Prosperous Voyage, it might be Grand Dam instead. Prosperous Voyage looks quite interesting. I mean, obviously she was badly below form last time, but she's run 3 times in her life on Newmarket courses, and she's been all in Grade 1s, and she's been second, first. I mean, she was second to Inspiral last year in the Fillies Mile. She was second to Cachet in the Guineas. And then, of course, she won the Falmouth, beating Inspiral, obviously below par Inspiral. We have to admit that. But she's very consistent at Newmarket. And I think if I was going to have a bet, it'd be each way on her. I think Grand Dam's a little bit better than she showed at Sandown. After she raced a bit too close to the pace there. And she looked like she was winning. She looked like she was going to win easily at one point, but then Potapova went by her. And she's quite a big price at 20-1. If I was going to back one of the 2 of Gosden's, that would be the one. But I think I'm coming down on Prosperous Voyage as a bit of each-way value.
Okay, Prosperous Voyage then, 15-2, loves Newmarket, and of course Rafe Beckett at the back end of the flat season is normally a licence to print money, and it's certainly working out that way. He's having winners left, right and centre. He could have a good weekend with the likes of Kinross as well to come. Over to you, Tom Segal, Saffron Beach 11-8, Homeless Songs 5-2. Again, those 2 proven top-class performers taking big chunks out of this market.
Yeah, it's hard. I'm not that keen on Homeless Songs tomorrow. I don't know why. I was her biggest fan at the start of the season, and she missed the Guineas. I had a good bet on her to win our Guineas, and she won the Irish Guineas by miles. But I was really disappointed with her last time. I know Dermot Weld says that she's going to leave that form well behind, and put a tongue tie on her this time, but she was pretty lifeless, I thought. Saffron Beach, I think, is the most likely winner on her form, but she's priced up accordingly. I'm with Keels. I think Prosperous Voyage is the each-way bet. Don't know anything about Laurel. She's obviously very well bred and won her 2 races very easily, but she's up against the best fillies in the country, bar and Europe, bar Inspiral, isn't she? So I think Prosperous Voyage will won well. I don't think she'll mind any rain. One at a big price that I could see sort of smuggling into the frame maybe would be Mrs. Fitzherbert for Hughie Morrison, whose horses are going well. I think she'll like any given the ground. She's always been very highly regarded, and she's never quite achieved what I thought she was going to achieve. But I think there's still some potential there. But I personally think Saffron Beach will probably still win, and I think Prosperous Voyage is the danger.
Okay, Saffron Beach at 11-8, Prosperous Voyage a 15-2 shot. I'll give a quick shout out to Lights On. I thought it was a little bit interesting. I mean, she was sent off 17-2 at Leopardstown last time out, reared and missed the start, but she's gone from 17-2 to 28-1 in this, and she's won her other 2 starts in soft ground. So if it gets properly soft, I thought she could be the each-way play at big odds. Simon, any price boosts or strong opinions in the Sun Chariot?
I think you've got to just, when you actually look at Saffron Beach's profile, you realise what a high-class filly she's been over the last few years. I mean, in America, they describe her as a road warrior because she's travelled so much. She's been to Ascot, to Deauville, to Ireland, Meydan, 4th in the Dubai Turf. Always, turns up every time. Won this last year, beating Mother Earth and Dreamlover. Really good fillies. And that run at Leopardstown, Pearls Galore, was given a great ride from the front. It's a funny track, Leopardstown. I always find the form there can be, it's just a different tactically as they come around that bend. If you're in the wrong position, it's very hard to make ground on a better ridden horse. And she still ran really well, so I think she's going to be really hard to beat. There's been 5 winning favourites in 10 years. William Buick has ridden her 3 times, won every time. So whilst as a bookie you don't like to see the favourites win, I think on across the races we're looking at, I think she's probably one of the best, strongest favourites on form. And our in the know special is Saffron Beach to win by over 1.5 lengths. It's 4-1 from 100 to 30. She won last year by 3 lengths in this race. So, yeah, if you fancy her winning and winning well, you get 4-1.
Yeah, that's not a bad angle, really, because of all her wins, there's only one that wouldn't have cashed in with that. So, and that was a second win as a 2-year-old. So, yeah, that's if you fancy Saffron Beach, I think I'd rather back 4-1 than 11-8 to do that. Especially as, like you said, Keels, there's potentially only 2 horses who can genuinely run up to Group 1 form. She's going to win. She could win this cosily.
Yeah, she could do. I mean, it's every possibility. She has won a couple of races cosily already this season, hasn't she? But I've never been one for those, extra distance enhancements.
No.
Myself.
Just seemed to fair. 11-8 out to 4-1 is at least a fair.
Yeah, I'm not arguing with that. Not arguing with that at all. I'm still looking to oppose it.
Yeah. Okay. What are you playing against?
I am playing Prosperous Voyage, and I will have a couple of quid each way on Grand Dam as well, I think.
Okay, very well. If it rains as much as we're expecting, I'll take a cheek each way on Lights On. What about for you, Tom? Not Lights On, I imagine.
I hadn't thought of Lights On, Ross. Good angle. I hadn't thought of that. She's good enough personally. I think Saffron Beach will win, so I will be sticking it out. But she's top class. I think her form when she smashed France the other day is a lot better than unless Homer's Songs bounce back form.
Okay, lovely stuff. And Simon?
Yeah, Saffron Beach for me. I think she'll win.
Okay, a quick shout out to everyone watching at home. Lights On each way for Genghis 26 as well. And Tom Leach says just back Beckett horses this weekend, which is probably not a bad little angle. From Newmarket over to Ascot then. And we have a 6-furlong Group 3 in the stage in the shape of the Bengough Stakes, which has got a big field this year, 14 of them lining up. And this is often an absolutely pitch-perfect tee-up for the Champions Sprint on Champions Day. So worth watching horses who run well in this and then go on for a crack at that Group 1 in a couple of weeks. But in terms of who's going to win it tomorrow, it's a tricky little race, but I'm sure Tom will sort it out in 60 seconds or less. Rohan is 3-1 favourite here. Comanche Falls 5-1. Al Sahel 7-1. Flaming Rib 15-2. Vardream is 12-1 with Summergand at the same price. Eraz 14s. Perfect News 14s. Other horses in with chances. Gale Force Myers in the form of Her Life. Princess Shabnam comes into this on the back of a win as well. And of course Diligent Harry for Clive Cox, who's in very good form as well. So an open sprint here. Group 3 just in that ceiling a glass ceiling between the top-level sprints and the decent sprint handicaps. It doesn't take that much to take a step up from handicap company to this level, Tom. But Rohan, of course, comes into this off the back of Group 1 form. Plenty of angles and interest in here. What stood out to you?
Nothing stood out, Ross, to be perfectly honest. I thought it was a typical end-of-season 6-furlong group sprint in which you could make cases for absolutely loads. Rohan is the obvious one, isn't he, after his 2 Wokingham wins. He loves the track, doesn't he? The sort of races set up well for him here because they tend to suit a hold-up horse. But I didn't necessarily think that was how the track was riding today. I thought it was a little bit harder than it looked to come from way off the pace. Whether that will be a problem for Rohan, I don't know. But I thought 3-1 was about right. I do think 7 furlong and a mile races are a lot classier than sprints. I think our sprinters are absolutely useless. So I wouldn't be surprised if Halsu Hale ran well. First time back at 6 furlongs for ages. Because I think, I think he's been running against better horses than he faces here. But I thought Flaming Rib might run all right, just on the soft ground. I just think he's a very consistent sprinter. He ran very well at Haydock on ground that had been way too quick. He was just behind Rohan. I just thought he might run a solid race. It's not a race I've got any great affection for or have any great strong opinions in. But if I was having a bet, it would definitely be Flaming Rib. I just like him. He's tough. He's solid. He's just going to run well, whatever the ground.
Okay, Flaming Rib then it is for Hugo Palmer and Ross O'Ryan, who will be picking himself up and dusting himself off and hoping to get a bit of success tomorrow after his exploits this afternoon. Flaming Rib is a 15-2 shot. I'll pick up on what you said there, Tom. I'll move over to Keels. But yeah, Alistair Hale looks, Naval Crown, almost placed in a Guineas, drops back to win a Group 1 over 6 furlongs. Keels, Creative Force, Jersey winner, drops back to win a Group 1 over 6 furlongs. It's almost as if they've realised that might be an angle for their.
Well, yeah, absolutely. And there aren't, I can't imagine any of the horses in this field would have got that close to Kinross while doing everything wrong last time at Doncaster the way he did it, because he raced so keenly. And, Kinross is a very good horse. He's a short price favourite for a Group 1 Foret on Sunday. And he's beaten under 3 lengths. I think he's going to run really, really well. Yeah, I do like him. I think a few of the Appleby horses ran rather poorly at Ascot today, didn't they? But let's not hold that against him yet. The other one I was looking at a bigger price was Perfect News, who she just ran a really big career best in Ireland last time and winning a handicap over there. She does have to make another leap, but you've got a horse, a last time out winner trained by William Haggis, who says she'll run well if the ground is soft. At 20-1 ish, So I thought that was. I thought it was a reasonable price. He does say he thinks Stall 1 will be the wrong place, but this time last year, the big 7 furlong handicap, there were 2 that raced on the far side, and they were about 7 lengths clear of the rest, weren't they? So
and one of them was his.
Yeah,
and
exactly,
the winner,
yeah.
Aldari.
Of course, Aldari. Yeah, of course, yeah.
So
who knows?
But I think he's putting us away there.
Yeah, could be. Yeah. I mean, it does tend to change this time of year. Not always, but they do. You do have winners over the far side as well at this time of year.
And another one who's not quite got home over 7 furlongs and a mile and he's dropping back on a stiff track with soft ground to contend with. So it could well be that the horses with a bit of extra stamina come out on top.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, Perfect News then is a 14-1 shot. Alistair Hale is a 7-1 shot. Rohan remains at the top of the betting though here at 3-1. I'm just going to double check, Simon, before I throw you under the bus there. You are offering 4 places here for this race.
Yeah, I'm on top of it this time. Yeah, we got 4 places there on offer in this Group 3. There've been 5 winning favourites in the last 10 years, but they've been shorter prices, and I think this is come in as a really competitive Group 3, hasn't it? It's almost like a sort of a level weights handicap, if you can, in terms of the sort of competitiveness. Two of the big guns have been running brilliantly in the Air Gold Cup and Stewards Cup. Comanche Falls and Summergan both been attracting money this evening. Comanche Falls obviously better off at the weights with Summergan for those 2 seconds on his last 2 starts. But they're popular horses. They're the sort of horses that punters tomorrow will sort of latch onto because they've been turning up and delivering in handicaps recently. But Dream, who won the race last year, has attracted a bit of money as well. Obviously has been out of form, but with the softer ground and that sort of course and distance win last year, he's proving popular as well. But it looks, frighteningly competitive. We've got an in the nose special. This is a tricky one. Rohan or Comanche Falls, the first and second favourites. Either of them to win by over a length is 6-1. So you get both of them running for you, and if either of them wins by over a length, you get paid. So that's one sort of workout if you like both of them. And I'd chuck one in. Eraz, I know Jim Crowley and Richard Hannon fancy him quite strongly for the Commonwealth Cup, very unexposed 3-year-old sprinter. Hasn't run since then. I must admit, I haven't asked Jim why that is, but the fact that he's back, still very unexposed in Group 3 company tomorrow at 14-1. I'll be interested. I might try and find out why he's been off and whether they fancy him.
Yeah, he could be an interesting one. Given this is often a springboard to Champions Day, Simon, he's been off for 3 months. It might be one to just watch on that return, but who knows? And obviously the Hannon team are going pretty well as well. So Eraz is 14-1. Rohan or Comanche Force to win the Bengough Stakes by over 1 length. If one of them beats the other by only 3/4, I think we should get half his stake back. But that's just my personal opinion.
Money back is a free bet, exactly.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, just keep it going. Keep it going. Keels, the Bengough Stakes.
Yeah, I've backed Sue Hale, and I've had a few quid on Perfect News as well.
Okay, lovely stuff. I will agree with you with Alsa Hale as well for the Appleby trip droppers. Tom?
Yeah, Alsu Hale got a very good chance. Obviously, Flaming Rib as well.
Okay, and Simon?
Yeah, I'll probably take a chance on Eraz, but small stakes each way.
Okay, and my producers just double checking. Are all of these booths available? How long are they available for? Are they all some tonight? Are they all? Or what's the deal?
I think most of them are available through till tomorrow, like this one. But we'll come to one later where it's for an hour.
Right. Okay.
And I'll reveal all later in the show.
Okay, lovely stuff. It's not going to be in the last 5 minutes, is it? Whereby you don't
No.
have 5 minutes.
That's a good point, actually. Well, okay, no, it's the middle of the show. We'll be all right.
Perfect. All right, lovely stuff. Right, okay. That's Ascot's Bengough Stakes then. At home, Vadream is an autumn horse, says Penny's Lucky Peach. She'll love the soft ground each way banker. Darren Walker likes Rohan as well. And Darren Walker's on Rohan at 5-1 from earlier in the week. So good luck to you with that. Continuing with the UK action, from Ascot up to Redcar we go for another juvenile contest here, the 2-year-old trophy. Just to specify, that's the age of the horse, not the age of the trophy. Cold Case is a 7-2 favourite here. Father Carl Burke Stable, who've been having a very good year with their juveniles. Barefoot Angel is 5-1. Mayland Sea is 6-1. Holguin is 8-1. Washington Heights 9s. Lady Bullet 10s. Jumbo is 12-1. Maria Bramwell 12-1. And bigger the rest. 85 grand on the table here with 17 of them lining up, albeit. Over the years, the 2-year-old trophy's been one of those races where tons of horses turn up, and it tends to go to the class and those at the top of the market. I'm going to come to you for this one first, Tom, because I know how much you like to get stuck into the 2-year-old form this year, and we've got a bit of group form on offer, the likes of Mayland Sea, and in particular Cold Case, who comes out of what looks a fairly warm gym crack, and a couple of sales winners out of that Donny race last time out as well.
Yeah, I mean, like you say, I think, sort of hit me on the back foot. I wasn't expecting to do this race, but I'm with you. I think that the classy horses at the top, so much shrapnel in these races, aren't there, that they tend to go to the classy ones, and the top two are the classy ones. It's as simple as that. Cold Case has the best form, I think. I think the York Sales race is a good race. Galeron, who was 3rd or 4th, came out and won the big one at the Curragh the other day. Barefoot Angel looked good when she won the Group 3 at Ayr. I think they stand out. I do think Holguin is going to run a bit better. I think the drop back to 6 furlongs this time, he was 3rd to Cold Case in that York race, will help him. He just didn't seem to quite get home over 6.5, and that was his first run since he'd sort of disappointed in the Coventry. So there's a chance he could improve a bit on that and get close to Cold Case, but he's actually a little bit worse off at the weights. So I think, look, excuse me, I'm going to be boring again, but I think Cold Case will win. I must mention Jumbo, who's been off since running very, very well in what turned out to probably be the best 2-year-old race at the Royal Meeting, which was the Windsor Castle, believe it or not, the only non-group race. Turned out to be a very good race, and Jumbo ran very well in that. Big Bear won it, as we all well know, and we know what he's gone on to do. So I expect he'll go well. We haven't seen him since, so that's the worry with him. I think Cold Case will probably win, but I am going to see what price Holguin and Jumbo are in the morning.
Okay, Holguin and Jumbo potentially against Cold Case, who is a keen goer who'll be on the speed, which isn't the worst angle here at Redcar. Completely contrasting market leaders though here. You've got a keen goer on the speed, and you've got a horse who doesn't get going until the last 100 yards in Barefoot Angel.
Exactly. It'd be interesting to see what happens. I find these sales races all very difficult. You know, I don't tend to back many winners. I don't tend to back in them that often.
Well, I mean, I think the last time really should have been a ring.
Should have been a ring. I was going to mention
line.
that because I think I'm going to put up Washington Heights. He was just beaten by him. You know, he probably needs to improve again. But he's getting £7 off Cold Case. He has improved in fairly big leaps with every single run as well. I've been trained for this race ever since, which is fairly obvious, I suppose, given the races he's been running in. You normally want to be on one side or other. Stall 7's probably okay. He'll just about do for me. I mean, Mayland C you can make a really strong case for on her best form, can't you? Because she's only got 8 stone 9. She's getting a fair bit amount of Cold Case, and she still ran to an RPR of 90 odd when running the Shively Park last time. And this is a massive drop in class. But I'm just going to favour Washington Heights, but I'm not sure I'm going to bother having a bet, to be honest.
Okay, Washington Heights then, who Keels was happy to see chinned on the line with the selection at York, and we're hoping that it goes the other way and Washington Heights holds on this time, 9-1 for the Kevin Ryan stable. But Cold Case at 7-2 here, another big field here at Simon, but 7-2 market leader is sure to be popular, and as Tom said, probably quite a lot of horses in here that people will think, oh, I'll have an each way play on that, and they'll run up to the best and finish 7th or 8th. So what's the angle here?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's right. To reinforce Tom's point, I think there's been 5 winning favourites in the last 10 years. That's a 50% strike rate for favourites in what are always big fields. But the class horses do come out on top a lot. Cold Case is being well backed. Our 7-2 is top price now. I can see him going off a lot shorter. There is money for Jumbo, which is quite interesting. Again, we're 12-1 now top price, but I can see there's been money across some of the betting operators. We're paying 4 places, so if you want to play each way at some of the bigger prices like Holguin, the Andrew Balding horse, or Washington Heights, as Paul said, you get the 4 places. We've got another interesting special. The traders have been innovative tonight. This is Cold Case and Barefoot Angel to both finish in the first 4, 100-30 from 5-2, that is. So, again, on that class angle, they're the 2 best horses on form. Will they both finish in the first 4? You get paid if they both pop up there. So, big field, but I think most of the betting action will certainly focus on those front 2 in the betting.
Yeah, absolutely. Cold Case 7-2, Barefoot Angel 5-1, 100-30 for them to both to finish in the first 4 in this 2-year-old trophy. One more we haven't mentioned that I'll just throw out is the aforementioned Rafe Beckett's funny story. He's had 2 runners in this in the past 10 years. He won with Lullaby Moon a couple of seasons ago. Form's a bit iffy potentially, but you've got to respect the connections, that's for sure. As for you at home, and lots of discussion about why Redcar's on ITV. Why not? Why not get Redcar on ITV? Absolutely, 2-year-old trophy, get the Straight Mile Championship as well. Why not? Let's do it.
Good horses have won that race.
Yeah, I agree. Where's the Zetland Gold Cup? Should be feature. That's it. Let's get more Redcar on ITV. That's what I say. In fact, that's all we're discussing. No one fancies the winner here. It's just an argument about whether Redcar should be on telly or not. Keels, 2-year-old trophy, you're tiptoeing in.
Yeah, tiptoeing in with Washington Heights.
Washington Heights it is. And Mr. Segal?
Yeah, well, I think Cold Case will win, but I'm being very boring tonight, so I might throw in Jumbo as well at a double-figure price there.
That's okay. We come for you for winners, Tom, not entertainment, of course. So.
Well, I can't provide either of these days.
Fair enough. Simon?
Yeah, I think Barefoot Angel, Richard Fahey has won this twice in the last 5 years. It's his sole runner, and she's obviously got a Group 3 victory to her name. So, I'm taking her to beat the favourite.
Okay, there we go. Redcar 2-year-old trophy there, taking its rightful place on ITV Racing tomorrow. Back to Ascot we go for the Challenge Cup, 7-furlong handicap with 18 of them lining up, and it's a 7-furlong handicap at Ascot, so of course Fresh is turning up for another crack. Won its last 2 under Danny Tudhope, who in a big field is pretty much bulletproof, and it's 5-1 favourite here for James Fanshawe, admittedly on likely softer ground than what those last 2 wins have come on. Symbolise 7-1 is next in with Safe Voyage. River Nymph at 8-1. Blue for You 10s. Roscoe in 10s. Silent Film is 14-1. Asjad 14-1. Loads of other favourites as well. Orban. I mean, are you ready for this? Are you ready for this list of horses? Orban, Escobar, Mums Tipple, Accidental Agent, Oodalali, they're all in here. They are all in here, Keels. What would annoy me if it won Paul Kealy's system?
Yeah, well, there's loads, isn't there? I mean,
There's loads.
You know, well, Fresh is one of them. He hasn't, you know, the only time he's finished out of the frame at Ascot in his life was when I had him for Fortunes in the Wokenham.
Yep.
You know, and he's won both his starts back there since. And I think James Franchot must be on first name terms with the handicap because he's won about 118 grand and gone up £5 for it. Only went up £1 last time. It was stunning, really, when you think about it. I know it was a close finish. You're talking about valuable handicaps. There was a horse entered for this earlier on in the week that had gone up like £4 for winning by the same margin in a Class 4 at Chepstow. So very weird. He's got.
I mean, Safe Voyage went up £3 for getting beat last time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, in a handicap, and he's gone up £1.
Yeah.
For winning 40 odd grand, so he must be absolutely delighted with that. He's got no issues with the ground. He did get beat a long way when third in this race last year, but still won his side because that was the race that Aldari won from Symbolise, and they were like, you know, I think Symbolise was second, beaten 2 1/4 lengths, and he was like 7.5 lengths clear of the rest. We don't know what's going to happen draw-wise. Most of the fancied horses are drawn higher. I could make cases for loads of them because I backed nearly all of them at some point, not only before but this season. So I'm gonna, you know, I've actually gone for Orban, who, I mean, he just hasn't looked back since that Golden Mile at Goodwood, has he? I mean, he's won there. He won at the Shergar Cup. He was an unlucky running fourth. That's him in general at York, behind Blue for You, and he's better off for the weights for that. And then he only just got chinned by I'm a Gambler at Goodwood last time. I'm a Gambler won that race at Leopardstown that Safe Voyage finished in, and Safe Voyage was sixth at Goodwood. And finished second. I think the fifth was also fifth in that Leopardstown race. That's a really, really strong run. I'm a Gambler's like something like £12-13 higher now. Orban's a couple of pound higher. He can still win off that sort of mark if he's in the right mood, and you know his current form suggests he is in the right mood. So I thought a biggish double figure price. He's quite interesting. And the other one I backed, I didn't think I'd be going anywhere near, to be honest, earlier in the week, but I kept looking at him and I'll come back to it. It's Boardman. He's one of those horses that normally goes off the boil in the autumn. He's very good in the spring. He was in cracking form earlier this season, winning 3 times. But he's actually on RPRs. He's run his 2 best races ever on his last 2 starts. He got chopped for room at the wrong moment last time over a mile against Winnice on good to soft ground. He's only beaten 1.5 lengths in fourth. It'd have been a fair bit closer. Might have gone very close. And I think Winnice is well handicapped. And you know, if he gets into it, my only doubt with him is that he was well beaten midfield in the Buckingham Palace last year, but that was on very fast ground.
I had a slight concern that he was one of those ones who likes careering round a bend. This is a very different proposition for him. Yes,
he could do. It's a very good point. It's Chester, Haydock, that sort of thing. Yeah. But you know, at the prices, I'd take a chance on it.
Okay. Boardman at the prices is a 16-1 shot then here at the Challenge Cup at Ascot. Like I said, I normally like these 7 furlong handicaps, Tom, but they've driven me absolutely, well, oodalali this season because again, something that you wrote in your piece on the app about. There's been races over this trip at this track this season where they've blasted off one side and the pace has collapsed, or you think, oh, there's a lot of pace on here, and then nothing goes on. They've driven me a little bit mad. What did you make of this?
Well, that's exactly why you should take too long, Ross. I keep telling you, just get in there, find the horse you fancy and back it.
Yeah, fair enough.
They drive you mad if you spend hours looking through them because you get it all wrong. I mean, I'm absolutely convinced the more I look at the race, the more I get it wrong. I always get the pace wrong. And I always get the draw wrong. So take them out of the equation because I've got a much better chance of finding the winner then. I'm a visuals man, as you well know, and Safe Voyage did incredibly well to finish second in that Leopardstown race. It looked to me like there was an advantage being on the rail. The winner, I'm a Gambler, was drawn 1. He was drawn 19. He was second last turning into the straight, and he went past 18 horses in about a furlong and a half. He would have gone past I'm a Gambler in another 5 strides. He's got to be well handicapped. I know he's gone up £3 and he's a 9-year-old, but we had Raising Sand winning today. He was 10. We had Summergan the other week who was winning when he was 8. Let's not forget Safe Voyage was 3rd in the QE2 3 years ago. 2019 King of Change won it anyway. And he was 3rd in that race. He's got course form if the rain comes. I just can't see him not running a big race. He's on what he showed at Leopardstown. He's incredibly well handicapped. He has to be. He went past 17 horses like they were standing still. I'm all in on him, really. I get the fresh argument. He loves Ascot. Don't think the ground, whatever it happens, will be a problem for him. Symbolize has got great Ascot form too, as has River Nim. It's one of those races you can go round and round in circles. But, you know, I do my trackers piece every week, and I try and every time they come up in a race, I have to tip them, because if I don't, I feel like a complete numpty, because I've spent ages looking through all the races trying to find horses that have caught my eye. Safe Voyage, I think he must have caught everyone's eye, because that was an amazing performance he put up at Leopardstown. And if he runs to the same level, I think he'll win.
Yeah, and the Queen Stable as well. The last two runners have won, and Miss Nay Never, I think it was at Chelmsford last night, raced keenly on the speed, looked like she was going to get swamped, and just kept grinding and absolutely bolted up. So they're clearly in pretty.
Amazing trainer, most underrated trainer in the country by a mile. Look what he's done with Highfield Princess.
I think it's because he's just so just quiet, just gets on with it. There's no, just sort of turns up, does the job.
Operation, do incredibly well, and so I mean, I'm always cheering for them, because, as you say, they're not sitting out there banging the trumpets, telling everyone how great they are. They just go out and win races, and good ones. So I'd love to see Safe Voyage win. He's always been a favourite of mine, and the more rain, the better better his chance.
I would say that, though, if you're going around banging trumpets, you're not going to get much sound from them. But fair enough. Simon, Clare, have you... I'm going to cut my brain off right there and hand over to you for the Challenge Cup.
I'm a big Safe Voyage fan as well. You know, he's a 7 furlong specialist through and through. 11 wins from 32 starts over that trip. Placed in the QE2 3 years ago. He was placed in the Foret 2 years ago behind One Master. They took him to the Breeders' Cup in Keeneland. 16-1 chance behind Order of Australia when that won at a huge price. So the fact that then he was being rated around the sort of 140, 160 mark. He's down to 100. Ran a blinder last time out. I think he's got. I'd love to see him go well. I love the old timers as well. So and he's been really well backed. He was 7-1 when we came on air. He's 11-2 now. Very interesting. This is always a competitive race, but 4 favourites, 1 in 10 years. Again, it's just quite interesting. Doesn't bode well that the favourite records for a few of these races seem to be quite compelling. It could be a bad day for us bookies tomorrow, but he's challenging now. It's Precious 5-1, Safe Voyage 11-2, and they're both being pretty well back to the front end of the market. We're paying 5 places each way. It's a cracking competitive race. We have another innovative in the nose special, 7-1. Fresh and Safe Voyage, both to finish in the first 5. So again, not dissimilar to the Redcar race. If you think that the 2 form horses are going to figure in the first 5 places, you get 7-1 for that. But yeah, listen, Safe Voyage, I would love to see run well. There's bits of money around for Ever Given at a bigger price. He's been being quite well backed, but actually most of the money is focused on the front 2 in the betting here.
Okay, lovely stuff. The Challenge Cup then. Paul Kealy?
Yeah, I've backed Boardman and everyone's old favourite, Orban.
Absolutely, Boardman and Orban. Tom Segal?
Well, he's not my old favourite, Keels. My old favourite is Safe Voyage by 100 miles.
He's a bit of a favourite of mine too. I backed him at Leopardstown last time, so that could be the one.
Okay, well,
he was annoyingly unlucky. I was on 2.
Oh, I mean, it's an old favourites benefit then, isn't it? I mean, I'm not doing it. I'm not going for Mum's Tipple. I'm sitting it out. Simon?
Yeah, no, Safe Voyage for me. We all love Safe Voyage.
We do indeed. We do indeed. We'll move on to the big one in a second, but our producers have reminded me that the Racing Post have started a TikTok account. That's right. So if you're on TikTok, they want you to get over there and follow the Racing Post on TikTok. Paul Kealy cannot get enough of it. He's on TikTok all the time, aren't you?
I have got a TikTok account because a mate of mine opened a TikTok account to talk about racing and that. But all he does is bombard you with like 16-year-olds dancing and stuff like not my sort of thing.
Yeah. Fair enough. That's not what I've heard, but fair enough. Tom, you on?
I want to hear what you're talking about. What's that?
No, it's the noise your clock makes behind you, Tom. Don't worry about it. But if you are on TikTok, follow the Racing Post. You might see Paul Kealy miming to some K-pop, if you're lucky. 3 races from Longchamp on Sunday. Then we've got a full weekend, of course, for the art weekend. A couple of very difficult races. Obviously, we don't know what the ground's necessarily going to be like. The French juvenile form as well is tricky to decipher. But we do have the big one at 3:05 on Sunday. It might not necessarily be a vintage arc in terms of the horses that have turned up, but it certainly is a wide open one. And currently, Luxembourg is 7-2 market leader, fresh off the back of that Irish Champion Stakes win. Alpinista just keeps winning and winning. Will she taste defeat for the first time in God knows how long on Sunday? She's 5-1. Last year's winner, Torquedo Tasso, is 6-1. Title holder, the Japanese Raider and a mad front runner, is 8-1. Verdani is 8-1. Christophe Soumillon will be hoping. Well, I mean, I dread to think what the headlines will be like if he gets banned today and wins the Arc on Sunday and then goes on holiday for 2 months when there's no flat racing. Westover is 10-1 with Rob Hornby back in the saddle. Onesto is 12-1 off that Irish champion as well last time out. And then there's a whole host which will certainly give lip service to at bigger prices. And you never know, maybe someone will tip one at a decent odds. I certainly fancy one that might be a little bit overpriced. The German Raider Mendocino, I thought, could have a little bit of a squeak if that one box isn't a problem in the conditions. But sure, we have the Irish champion winner. We've got the Eclipse form, the French Classics, the Irish Classics, last year's winner, and Japanese Raiders as well. But Keels, we don't have a Derby winner, Oaks winner, Ledger winner, King George winner, or international winner. So it's a funny one this year.
No, I mean, to my eyes, it's a considerably weaker race than the one Torquedo Tasso won last year.
Yeah.
And I think he's shown, even though he's only won once since, I think he's shown that it was no fluke in the races that he's run. And he's going to have his conditions for the first time. The issue, of course, is that really, really wide draw.
Yep.
It might not be such a bad thing on bad ground, as you've already mentioned. So he could get away with it. I hope he does. I'm back to anti-post, back 2 horses anti-post. They're both drawn really wide, which is a bit unfortunate. I back Cedarway, who's the other one. It just has run really well in big fields before. It was 5th in the race last year. And I think he's just been prepared for another crack at it, and he's going to run well at a big price.
And why not?
Isn't he? Yeah, of course, yeah. And like I said, I don't think it's as good a race as last year. So why, you'll get extra paces anyway, I dare say. And I just thought he's a big price on his best form, and obviously he finished 5th in this race last year, won the Champion Stakes on soft ground afterwards. So yeah, I mean, he's 40-1. I think that's a big price. But you could make a case for any of them. I'd love to see title holder win it for the Japanese. I can't pretend to know anything about Japanese form. I do know that they race on incredibly fast ground most of the time.
They do.
But what he's been doing, he's been thrashing everything. So he could just be very, very good and coming in the race in the right time. If he handles the ground, who knows? He
feels a bit. A back to win, later place kind of effort.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, that sort of thing. Like, the only problem is it depends on if a load of Japanese going over there. Can you back them on a pound mutual and find out you want it 5-4 or whatever price?
I don't think it's quite as bad as it was Rail Link to you.
Was it 2's on, wasn't it, or something like that? So
I think I blindly backed Rail Link at 25-1, 30-1. I didn't fancy it. We just had to.
Yeah.
It was
a great piece of after timing.
Yeah, absolutely. Which is 16 years later. I think that was the last Arc winner I backed, if I'm honest. So that's probably why I was still after timing.
I think mine was Dancing Brave, so you've done well.
Well, in that case, then surely Westover's the angle. Then if it's Dancing Brave and Rail Link.
Westover. Yeah, what went wrong with him? If
he
can get buried,
we know what went wrong with him there, Keels.
Well, they went too fast. So if he needs to settle, doesn't he? If he can get buried and settle, he could have a chance, because he did look really good in the Irish Derby, didn't he? It's just we've missed all the prices now, because he was a hell of a lot bigger, wasn't he?
Yeah. Interesting that Rob Hornby, of course, won in Group 1 company here back into last season, and Beckett's yard are on fire as well. But yeah, I mean, we know what happened at Ascot. When Ascot, Tom, the fractions will tell you that. Absolutely wide open art. Like I said, maybe not a vintage one. It'd be nice to see a horse improve. Maybe a 3-year-old absolutely bolt up, or Alpinist to prove everyone wrong and keep winning, or a Japanese Raider grind them into submission from the front. But how did you look at this? Obviously, you got ground, you got draw. Are you ignoring all that and just going with the classiest horse?
I'm ignoring it full stop, Ross. I hate the race. I think I'm the only man in the world that hates the Arc. I don't think I've ever backed the winner. I don't enjoy it. I don't like it. But it's my job, so I'm going to have a look at it.
When are you going to have a look at it? Oh, there we go. Your PR job is in trouble here, Simon. I think.
I will not watch it. I can't think of the last time I watched the Arc. I'll be watching my son play basketball, and I won't even know who's won it until someone texts me about 8 o'clock at night. But there we go. The horse I want to win is Westover. Because at the start of the season, we were all asked for our horses to follow, and my horse to follow was Westover, and I thought I was being really clever. And then he won the Sandown trial, and I was on I think it was 66-1 for the Derby, and he got knocked over, and probably wouldn't have won anyway, but he came second. Then he's won the Irish Derby, and so I've been a big fan of his ever since. I'm a big pedigrees man, as you know. He's by Frankel, as is Ernesto. I'm not that keen on Luxembourg at the top of the market. He just aesthetically just doesn't look like a good racehorse. I mean, his form is very good, and his times are okay, but he just runs with his head in the air. So I don't know. He's just a horse I've never really taken to. Alpinista's obviously very solid. Go on and on. Don't know. Like Keels, know nothing about the Japanese form. Know nothing about quite a lot of the form, actually. What I do know about the form is that the Prix de Jockey Club was a very good race. It was by far the best Derby run anywhere, I think. Verdane came out and won the Eclipse. Ernesto won the Grand Prix de Saint-Cloud. Modern Games was second to Baid in the Sussex and went out to win a Grade 1 in Canada last time. And the horse that I have backed, despite just because he was too big a price, was Al Hakim. I think he might be a Jean-Claude Rouget special, simply because he was fourth in that race. He finished ahead of Ernesto, but he was incredibly badly drawn. He was on the wide outside. It's the only time he's been beaten this season. He's by Siuni out of a Galileo mare. He's very similarly bred to Soxas, who won it for Jean-Claude Rouget. Sioni's horses love soft ground. He's by Pivotal himself, Siuni. So I'm expecting Al Hakim to take a big step forward on soft ground and on stepping up to 1.5 miles. He needs to, because his form isn't good enough. But if you watch back the Prix de Jockey Club, he had no chance from where he was or where he was drawn. Ernesto came out and has run Luxembourg very close since. That makes him a very similar horse to Ernesto, and I know he's been trained specifically for the race. That's all season long. They've said that the Arc race, the Qatar link. So I'm going to take a chance on Alpinista, but on Al Hakim. But as I say, I'll be more interested in whether my son dunks one over the Surrey Ram on Sunday.
Fair enough. To be fair, I thought that was the world's greatest preview. Then, as you were about to tip a horse you'd not even mentioned in 10 minutes. But yeah, Al Hakim. Yeah, okay, he's a 20-1 shot. Yeah, I mean, I agree with that form. I was going down on the side of Ernesto, who again last time out Luxembourg got the perfect run down the outside, didn't he, to get into that rhythm and keep on grinding under a very good ride. Ernesto kind of got sandwiched in between the winner and Stone Age, and he looks a bit of a grinder. He won the Grand Prix de Paris, which has thrown up plenty of winners as well. That form was rock solid, and he got going way too late behind Verdane. Soft ground should be spot on. Stefan Pasquier as well. When did he last win the Arc, guys? Rail Link.
Yeah.
His only Arc win, that's right. So after timing from 2006, it might follow up. To be fair, I did have a look at this. I thought, Stefan Pasquier, he's only had 5 rides in the past 10 years in this race, and they were 40-1, 66-1, 25, 66 and 28. So for a jockey who, in my head, rides tons of decent winners over in France, he doesn't often get a decent crack at the Arc, but I thought Ernesto was a little bit interesting at odds of 12-1. Loads of others, obviously. Torquay de Tasso, title holder, we mentioned those a little bit. And is there anything? The other one I was going to mention was Mendocino, guys, who obviously beat Torquay de Tasso. Very lightly raced, coming into this off the back of a career best. Big field over 1.5 miles could be ideal. It's just that one box on the rail. Could be that big problem if it gets soft.
Yeah, it could be a problem if it gets soft, isn't it? I mean, everyone tells you that a low draw is best overall. It's just getting a run. It's where you're positioned, isn't it?
Yeah.
If he's held up way off, it's going to have a hell of a lot of horses to come through.
Yeah. Just getting the run is that's the.
Yeah.
In a 20-runner, 1.5 mile round.
Yeah, but I mean that's the same. We've all got to get a run, but at least he's going to go the shortest route, I suppose. Whereas I'm hoping that mine won't be going too wide and. Or maybe do a Frankie, go really wide to start with, take your time. I mean, Golden Horn.
Yeah.
That did it from stall 14, didn't he? So.
As long as you're not on the outside of Verdane.
It's the other elbow, then, isn't it? Going the other way around. Don't know whether he's as good with his left.
I can't. I mean, it's fairly. Let's not talk about it now. It's fairly remarkable that he even gets to turn up after that. But anyway. Fairly ridiculous scenes, but Alpinista anti-post at 20-1 for Jonathan Sherritt. Big shout out for that. Nick Palfrey thinks it's a stronger race this year. He thinks Onesto and Westover could be very interesting. Luxembourg has fooled everyone, says Pompey Blue. I don't know if that means he's fooled everyone into thinking he's a good horse or fooled everyone into thinking he hasn't got more up his sleeve. Music Mike's also going with Onesto as well. Jim Frater says, is Al Hakim the reason Baid isn't there? Luxembourg will finish last, says Off World. Tom Leach says he backed him last time out, but he won't win the Arc. And Pompey Blue says one draw won't matter if it rains, as he's a boat, the others are horses. Fair enough. Simon Clare, the Prix de l'Arc de Triomphe 2022.
It's a great race. I mean, I know, when you look back over the years, like some Montjer and Dalakani and Saki and, See the Stars, it's Jim Crowley in his blog, he's riding Mosterdam. I mean, clearly he's an outsider. It'd be hard to really make a case for him. But Jim said if he had the choice, he'd always rather have a runner in the ride in the Arc de Triomphe than the Derby. I suppose it is worth 4 times as much, isn't it? So that's one reason why I probably would. But so I think it's a brilliant race. Is it a vintage one? Maybe not. Luxembourg, that form from Ireland, I think, is interesting. I thought Luxembourg was given the best ride in the best position. Onesto ran really well. I'm not giving up on Verdani, and I'm cheering on with that sort of Coral Eclipse form standpoint. Christophe Soumillon has won multiple arcs. It'd be just like him, actually. You can almost see the fact that it could be the story when he rides the Arc winner after that incident today. So I'll be hopeful for a big run for him. And even, easy to ignore Mishriff. I know he's just been placed this year. He's sort of maybe a step below last year, but he was unlucky in the Coral Eclipse. He's on ratings. He's up there with the best of them, and he's 25-1 with William Buick in the saddle. So when I saw he was going with the race, I backed him, and his prices hardly shifted. I thought I was being clever, but anyway, I still think he could outrun his price and be there or thereabouts to the death. But it's a hell of a race. We're paying 4 places each way. We've got in the no specials. It's 6-5 a UK or Irish winner from 10 to 11. Obviously loaded in terms of Irish and UK trained horses there, and the limited time offer, which now technically is only got 4 minutes to run, but we're going to extend it for another half an hour, is a UK trained winner, 100-30 from 9 to 4. So that takes in Alpinista, Westover, Mishriff, and Alan Kerr. I think you get all wrapped up in that 100-30. So there's a few to go after.
Okay, there you go. The Prix de l'Arc de Triomphe 2022. Then few price boosts for you. Plenty of opinions as well. Tom Segal hates the race, but every time he says that, he tips the winner. So, Tom, what wins the Arc?
Well, Jim Crowley's off my Christmas card list, that's for sure. If you'd rather ride in some stupid race around in France or on soft ground in October rather than the Derby. But I think Al Hakim will be my one I have had a bit on.
Okay, lovely stuff. He doesn't like it, he won't be watching it, but he has backed Al Hakim. Keels?
Yeah, I'll back 2 anti-post. Torquato, Tasso and Segal. A bit worried about the draw, but stick with them.
Okay, I will go with Onesto and maybe a little saver on Mendocino and hope that one box doesn't scupper him. And Simon?
I don't think Tom Segal sends Jim Crowley a Christmas card, does he?
Yeah. I mean, he doesn't send us a Christmas card, so...
It's a great line, that, isn't it? Exactly. He doesn't send anyone a Christmas card.
No.
I've ended up backing Verdani and Mishriff. I backed both of them already. So I'm just representing the Coral Eclipse form firmly in this race.
Okay, there we go. Well, that's an odds-on shot landed there, Simon. But we've got 2 more races to come from Longchamp before we wrap up the show. There's loads more going on over in Paris, of course, but plenty of British interest in the Abbey. 5 furlongs, fast and furious. 19 of them going to post, and the Platinum Queen is representing Fahey and Doyle and the 2-year-olds, and of course that York and that Doncaster form at 11-4. Coeur de Pierre is 6-1. Bernal is 7-1. Teresa Mendoza 9-1. A case a few 10s, Mitbai 11s, Muniesta 14s White Lavender, and bigger prices the rest. Sprint King Tom Segal in 10 seconds or less. What wins the Abbey?
Well, I'd like you to pronounce number 7 again, Ross, because I thought that was one of the worst efforts I've ever heard in my life.
It's
but
Bernal. Bengough.
Don't know is the answer. I mean, normally it's a low draw, isn't it? Keels knows these sort of sprints better than me. I thought, looking down there, I thought Teresa Mendoza ran pretty well at Newbury the other day. She travelled really well when Mick Barhy got past her. I see she's drawn in 5, I think it is, and I thought, is it he or she?
It's a she, yeah.
Yeah, I thought she'd go really well.
Okay, lovely stuff. Teresa Mendoza then is a 9-1 shot. I thought soft ground, 5 furlongs, prominent ride, William Buick Flotus could be a little bit interesting at decent odds.
This is it. Yeah, I backed her in the Nunthorpe.
Yep.
And she stumbled coming out of the stalls, and then they attempted to hold on to her, and she was just so keen. I mean, it's just not her, is it? And then last time in Ireland, went up with it, ran a really good race to be third to our hopeful Princess. This is actually the weakest Group 1 sprint run in Europe virtually every year. It's also the lowest prize money of a Group 1 sprint in Europe. And so it's just not a very good race. I can perfectly see why Platinum Queen is favourite. She had a hard race last time, though, I thought. At Donny, and I would give Flotus a chance. She's very fast. She's in stall 9. She can get across. If she bounces out, doesn't make any mistakes, she's proven she can go on fast and soft ground. I thought 16-1's a very big price in what is not a very good race. A Case of You obviously won it last year, but stall 19, wrong side probably.
Yeah, I wish I'd crunch these numbers now, but off the top of my I just suddenly thought the Crisford French Raiders, your Jadoumis, El Bodegons, no, El Bodegons does James Ferguson, but they had what was the other one? They had this season, West Wind Blows, of course. They've sent a lot of horses over to France and targeted really well. So, I think Flotus could be a little bit interested. Can you, very quickly on the Abai, as if you're running in it, Simon?
We're paying 4 places, 50 odds. It's 11 to 10. A UK trained winner from 5 to 6. There's obviously a few running. And I'll be cheering on Mick Barhy, who won the Coral Scurry Stakes and was second in the Coral Charge and is in great form.
Well, there you go. Mick Barhy's 11-1 shot, and big shout out to Genghis. Says it's pronounced Bernoy, but you were within 1,000 miles of that. Yeah, fair enough. Okay, Platinum Queen 11-4 favourite for the Abai. Last race we'll preview is the 7 furlong Group 1, just because it's a 7 furlong Group 1, and there's one of them, so we might as well talk about it. We've been waiting all season if you're a 7 furlong horse, which Kinross is at 6-4, Tenebrism 9-2, 6-1 Fang, 8-1 Sondrine. It is 9-1 New Energy, 12-1 Malavath, Akakaba 14s, Mangosteen 16-1, and bigger prices the rest. So actually, I did make a mistake there. Of course, there is the Prix Jean Prat, which was won by Tenebrism, but we do not have a British Group 1, but we do have a British trained Group 1 quality horse at the top of the betting, taking plenty out of the market though. Keels.
Yeah, I think 2-1's acceptable though. If you can get that big, I think he's just the best 7 furlong horse around, and he loves soft ground. He's absolutely in flying form. Probably should have won the Lennox, so he'd be on a 4-timer if he'd have done that. He'll win, won't he?
Okay, there you go. Fair enough. Kinross is a 6-4 shot. Tenebrism is a 9-2 shot. I did think that form behind Inspiral at Ascot was possibly the best on offer. And Mangosteen, I thought, had no chance last time out in the Prix Jean Prat. Drawn out on the wing, very keen, never got any cover, but Gerald Mossay's back on board. Thought Mangosteen could be an each-way angle. Tom Segal has left us, so Simon Clare for the Foret. Wrap us up, please.
Yeah, listen, I think the favourite looks really strong. 5 winning favourites in 10 years in this race. Even the horses that weren't favourite with 3-1, 7-2, 9-2 and 5-1. There's only been one outside in the last 10 years. That was one Master, and that went on and won the following 2 years at a short price. So I think the front of the market looks strong here. Kinross for me, 6-4. The in-the-know specialist for Kinross to win by over 2 lengths. That's 4-1 from 100 to 30. If the ground's very soft, you could see, a destructive performance. He'll do for me, really. I mean, even Fang, the third favourite, I think just be ever given last time out, and ever given was well behind in the Lennox behind Kinross. So you look all the way around sort of the form lines, and Kinross just looks strong.
Yeah, and like you said, you won Masters and your Space Blues. People, they kind of get to the Foret and they think, right, however I've gone, I'm just going to back the best horse in this 7 furlong race and collect the cash. So Kinross is 6-4 again. Rafe Beckett and Frankie Dettori. How many runners does Beckett have this weekend? Because it's getting to the point now where he could have 11 timers.
He's got plenty, isn't he? Yeah, he's got plenty, but I couldn't tell you without.
Let's have a look. Kinross, Westover. Not as many as I thought, actually. Funny Story, Prosperous Voyage, He's only got 9 entered over the weekend. So
All weekend, yeah.
yeah, that could be all right. Maybe a 9-fold.
Is that a super Goliath?
Is it a Super Goliath? Yeah, it might well be. Yeah. How many for a Union Jack?
Oh, I wouldn't have the faintest idea.
Yeah.
Oh God.
There we go. Back in the day, a single stakes about Union Jack. There you go. Get involved. Kim Ross, 6-4 favourite for the Foret then. For the last race, we're going to preview plenty of other Group action at Longchamp, of course, on Saturday and Sunday. I'm just going to quickly ask my producers: is Tom Segal back online? He's not. Very well. What is Tom's nap? Who knows?
Oh.
Who knows?
Safe voyage. It'll be safe voyage. Right?
Safe voyage.
Yeah, we'll give him safe voyage. He was very keen.
Yeah,
on
give him that. Yeah.
What did he say? I can't. Is it? His nap will be on social afterwards. There we go. I've got an earpiece in, but we try to shout through the door.
It'll be safe voyage.
It'll be safe voyage. There you go. Fair enough. Let's wrap up with our naps then. Tom Seagulls will be on social later on. He's going to record a video especially for you. But Arc Weekend here at the Racing Post, whether it's Longchamp, Ascot, Newmarket or Redcar, where are the nap going to come from, Paul Kealy?
I am going to Newmarket in the opening race. Filly's handicap, and the 4-year-old Something Enticing. He returns from a wind operation and goes back to 1 mile 2 furlong. Wants softish ground. It's quite a big price. Obviously got a lot of unexposed 3-year-olds to run against, but I think she's unexposed herself. And Andrew Ball just booked Shamie Heffernan.
Okay, lovely stuff. There you go. A curveball nap from Paul Kealy. Love it. Simon Clare?
I think Saffron Beach will win the Sun Chariot.
Okay, there you go. I'll go for Alsa Hale in the Bengough Stakes. The Godolphin dropping back in trip angle with a classy horse in soft ground. Tom Segal's nap will be on social if you want to get it there as well, or in the paper, or on the website. Plenty of ways to get that. Thank you to Tom for staying with us as long as he did. Keels, thank you ever so much. We'll see you next week.
You will indeed. No, you won't. No, I'm on holiday next week again.
How many holidays?
I've got loads of time to take off.
Right. Okay. Fair enough.
So
Okay.
1 more week.
Okay, fair enough. No Keels then, as we go to Newmarket next week.
And you're missing Coral Sprint Trophy there.
Oh no, terrible. Sorry, I'm back for Champions Day though.
Oh, thank God for that.
There you go. Or he might be at the Coral Sprint Trophy Day.
Well, that's right.
Yeah, that's interesting.
No, you've told him.
Trip up too much.
Simon, we'll see you next week.
Yes, I'll be on next week and the week after the Champions Day. We've got a message through. Power cut at Tom Segal Towers, apparently.
Yeah. He's got to watch his boy play basketball or whatever.
It's
again.
got to be.
Yeah. That's fine. Unfortunately, the hamster has passed away at Tom's house from running in that wheel. But we're still here for the next 5 seconds. We'll be back next week. Thanks for watching. If you haven't already, like the stream at the bottom to feed the hungry algorithm. And have a good weekend. It's sure to be a cracker.